Καλησπέρα. Σας καλωσορίζουμε στην δεύτερη ενότητα της σημερινής ημέρας του 15ου Infocom Security. Στην ενότητα αυτή θα δούμε λύσεις. Λύσεις που έρχονται ως απάντηση στα προβλήματα του Cybersecurity, σε αυτό το μόνιμο πεδίο μάχης, όπου επιτιθέμενοι και αμυνόμενοι διαρκώς αλλάζουν τακτική για να μπορέσουν να φτάσουν στο δικό τους σκοπό. Φυσικά, μας ενδιαφέρει περισσότερο η άμυνα απέναντι στις απειλές. Σε αυτήν την ενότητα, λοιπόν, θα δούμε λύσεις, θα μάθουμε για λύσεις από εταιρείες και από ανθρώπους με τεράστια πείρα στο κομμάτι αυτό. Θα ξεκινήσω, λοιπόν, καλώντας στο βήμα τον κύριο Μιχάλη Χαλβατζή, ο οποίος είναι VP και Regional Manager για την κεντρική και νοτιοανατολική Ευρώπη της Recorded Future, ο οποίος θα μας μιλήσει για Intelligence-Led Security Programs.
Ευχαριστώ, Δημήτρη. Μεγάλη τιμή. Αυτό είναι το clicker. Ναι, ωραία, λοιπόν. Κύρια ερώτηση ήταν στην αρχή να την κάνω στα ελληνικά την παρουσίαση στα αγγλικά. Θα την κάνω ανάμειχτα. Έχουμε και μερικούς εδώ πέρα από Ιταλία και διάφορες άλλες χώρες, οπότε sorry γι' αυτό. Recorded Future. Ποιος έχει ακούσει ποτέ για τη Recorded Future? Σηκώστε τα χέρια λίγο. Ποιος έχει ακούσει για Recorded Future? Λοιπόν, Recorded Future, Intelligence-Led Security Programs, η Recorded Future, αν πάρουμε το σύνολο ότι είναι η Recorded Future, μαζεύουμε data, τα αναλύουμε, τα δίνουμε σε μια πλατφόρμα standardized και την επεκτούμε σε διάφορα συστήματα. Αυτό είναι το πιο απλό. Όσο για το απλό, υπάρχουν μερικά θέματα τα οποία είναι πολύ βασικά. Μέσα στο cyber έχουμε το so-called operational resilience, έχουμε regulations, έχουμε διάφορα άλλα τα οποία πρέπει να τα κάνουμε, έχουμε securing όχι μόνο technology, έχουμε και το cloud και το καινούριο κομμάτι σε αυτό είναι το third and fourth party risk, το οποίο είναι πάρα πολύ βασικό. Και το θέμα γενικά είναι η Recorded Future πάντα προσπαθεί να δει τον άνθρωπο πίσω από το cyber. Λοιπόν, εμείς οι άνθρωποι τι βλέπουμε? Όχι μόνο οι αναλυτές και τα άτομα τα οποία δουλεύουν μέσα στο cyber, αλλά και οικονομίες, κράτη, τεχνολογίες, εταιρείες. Όλοι είμαστε μέσα στο παιχνίδι και οι defenders, so-called, στην άμυνα εδώ, όλοι μαζί έχουμε ένα πρόβλημα. Κάθε καινούρια τεχνολογία, όσο καλή και να είναι, εγώ προσωπικά ήμουνα 13 χρόνια στη Cisco, πάρα πολύ σύγχρονη εταιρεία, ήμουνα και στην CrowdStrike, η οποία είναι γνωστή και αυτή. Κάθε τεχνολογία φέρνει και τα προβλήματά της. Ο άνθρωπος πίσω από την τεχνολογία λέει ότι κάθε τεχνολογία κάνει θόρυβο. Μου δίνει alerts, μου λύνει μερικά προβλήματα, αλλά στο process αυτό το οποίο είμαι εγώ μέσα, δεν μου φέρνει λύσεις. Λοιπόν, έχουμε αυτό το so-called growing stack complexity, μετά έχουμε η επίθεση η οποία είναι κατά εμάς. Αυτοί έχουν πάρα πολύ μεγάλο funding από κράτη. Είναι highly motivated, όπως λέμε. Οι ενέργειες τους είναι πάρα πολύ οργανωμένες και αυτός ο τομέας πλέον έχει γίνει μια οικονομική βάση πάρα πολύ μεγάλη, με πολλά άτομα, πολλά χρήματα και ένα στόχο ο οποίος είναι όχι μόνο χρήματα, αλλά είναι και να επιβαρύνουν τα δημοκρατικά συστήματα, όπως βλέπουμε και καθημερινά εδώ πέρα. Και τελικά ο άνθρωπος πίσω από αυτά έχει να λύσει αυτά τα πρόβλημα. Δεν ξέρει τι να κάνει, πότε και πώς και με ποια προτεραιότητα. Λοιπόν, αυτό σημαίνει ότι η οργάνωση γενικώς και ειδικά οι ηγέτες της οργανώσης πρέπει να φέρνουν λύσεις για να λύσουν αυτά τα προβλήματα. Πρέπει να τα λύσουν γρήγορα, οικονομικά και να ξέρουν τι θα κάνουν στο μέλλον. Λοιπόν, το intelligence υπάρχει εδώ και πάρα πολλά χρόνια τελικά. Δεν είμαστε οι πρώτοι που το κάνουμε, απλά υπάρχει σε διάφορες μορφές. Υπάρχουν feeds, αυτό είναι το πιο βασικό, μαζεύουμε data από κάπου, μερικοί μαζεύουν data στο open source, άλλοι στο Google, άλλοι σε άλλα συστήματα. Υπάρχουν και πάρα πολλά open source όπως Elastic και τέτοια είναι γνωστά. Εκεί ξεκινάμε. Και χωρίς να το ξέρουμε κάνουμε κάποιο intelligence. Το intelligence δεν σημαίνει τίποτα παρά να βρούμε μια απάντηση από προβλήματα τα οποία υπάρχουν. Λοιπόν, μετά ξεκινάμε. Σαν εταιρείες, σαν συστήματα, σαν κράτη, πρέπει να βρούμε λύσεις. Ξέρουμε αυτό, έχουμε γνώσεις τώρα από αυτή την επίθεση, έχουμε αυτό το attack, έχουμε αυτό το attack vector, έχουμε αυτό το κράτος που μας επιτεθεί. Και τι κάνουμε τώρα? Λοιπόν, και ξεκινάμε. Παίρνουμε τις τεχνολογίες, τις μαζεύουμε, προσπαθούμε να τις ενώσουμε για να βρούμε μια ανάλυση τελικά η οποία είναι λογική για τους ανθρώπους και για τις οργανώσεις. Και πέρα από αυτά υπάρχουν και point-to-point, δηλαδή ας πούμε το EDR, μας φέρνει κάποιες λύσεις, μας δίνει alerts, μας δίνει κάποια συμπεράσματα τα οποία μπορούμε να τα χρησιμοποιούμε. Αλλά όλο αυτό να το φέρουμε σε ένα context, γρήγορα, οικονομικά και real-time, αυτό είναι πάρα πολύ δύσκολο. Λοιπόν, και εκεί ξεκίνησε η Recorded Future. Η Recorded Future υπάρχει εδώ και 14 χρόνια. Μαζεύουμε εδώ και 14 χρόνια data. Δεν ξεχνάμε τίποτα. Πρώτον. Δεύτερον, αυτά τα data καθημερινά γίνονται περισσότερα. Μαζεύουμε πάνω από 1 εκατομμύριο source και πηγές από διάφορα data στο open web, deep web, dark web, etc. Θα σας το πω σε λίγο. Και έχουμε και τους δικούς μας αναλυτές, οι οποίοι μέσα σε αυτό το πλαίσιο προσπαθούν αυτόματα, με προτεραιότητα και ανάλογα σε αυτό που ο άνθρωπος και η οργάνωση που θέλει να λύσει αυτό το πρόβλημα μπορεί τα δικά τους τα policy να τα κάνει enforce. Λοιπόν, αυτό βασικά είναι το κεντρικό σύστημα και η κεντρική λογική της Recorded Future. Έχουμε φτιάξει ένα intelligence graph, όπως το ονομάζουμε, το οποίο μαζεύει data από OSINT, βασικά netflow data, etc. Στο dark web, στο network intelligence, στο malware και έχουμε και τους δικούς μας αναλυτές, οι οποίες είναι γνώσιμες και ίσως κάποιος από εσάς έχει ακούσει από το The Record ή το Insight Group Reports. Αυτό είναι αυτό που βγαίνει πρώτα στο μάτι εδώ. Και τα αναλύουμε, τα οργανώνουμε αυτά τα data και τα κάνουμε deliver μέσα σε διάφορα συστήματα συν machine analytics και φυσικά από την αρχή έχουμε AI πάνω στο σύστημά μας. Λοιπόν, και τα εκδίδουμε σε διάφορα συστήματα όπως το SIEM. Το SIEM είναι γνωστό. Πλέον όλες οι μεγάλες συμμέτριες εταιρείες έχουν ένα SOC, η SIEM ή ένα Incident Response Team. Τα δίνουμε εκεί μέσα, δίνουμε στο EDR και στο Network Security και φυσικά σε άλλα συστήματα. Το γενικό αυτό που κάνουμε σαν Recorded Future είναι ότι όλα τα data, όλα τα alerts, όλους τους επιτεθέντες, τους actors, τους defenders, τα δίνουμε σε μια λογική για να έχουμε μια απάντηση. Πού γίνεται τι, ποιος είναι ο λόγος, ποια είναι τα συστήματα τα οποία χρησιμοποιούν και είναι τα πιο βασικά για να τα προστατεύσω και δίνουμε και receipts για να δούμε την απάντηση πότε να κάνω τι και ποια είναι η προτεραιότητα για να λύσουμε τα προβλήματα που είναι σήμερα. Στην τελική ανάλυση είμαστε ένας από τους top 5 data collectors σε όλο τον κόσμο. Η sandbox που έχουμε, για παράδειγμα, για ένα προϊόν είναι μεγαλύτερη από την Google και έχουμε μία από τις top 3 installations στο Amazon Web Service. Οπότε είμαστε πάρα πολύ μεγάλοι και, δεύτερο, πάρα πολύ σημαντικό, ό,τι stack και υπάρχει στις εταιρείες, σε εσάς ή στους πελάτες σας, εμείς λέμε κρατήστε τες. Φέρετε πρώτα μια λογική μέσα σε αυτά τα συστήματα, κοιτάξτε ποια είναι η ανάλογη και η συγκεκριμένη οργάνωση μέσα στο data έξω, τα οποία είναι σημαντικά για σας, και προσπαθήστε να φέρετε μια προτεραιότητα σε όλο το πρόγραμμα του security για να μπορείτε να λύσετε τα μεγαλύτερα προβλήματα τώρα και σε αυτή τη στιγμή. That's it.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ τον κύριο Χαλβατζή. Θα ήθελα να προχωρήσουμε σε αυτό το σημείο στον δεύτερο ομιλητή, στη δεύτερη παρουσίαση της ενότητάς μας, Empowering Resilience and Compliance. Θέλω να καλέσω λοιπόν τον κύριο Miguel Estévez. Mr. Miguel Estévez is a Principal Solution Consultant for OpenText. He will do the second presentation.
Thank you very much. I'm Miguel Estévez, and I want to speak with you about how do we, in OpenText, see the visibilities of the protection. First of all, we in OpenText, we're focusing mainly in 3 different entities. Over the last years, we've been focusing mainly on identities, on applications, and on data. We have been delivering some workshops during these days about it. And this is mainly because of the numbers. If you see the numbers, 93% of organizations have 2 or more identity-related breaches, and more than 60% of the applications had some flaws on the code. So the important thing here is identities, applications, and at the end, they're following your data. So that's why we're focusing on these 3 different entities. And we're focusing using our huge portfolio, I have to say. As you can see, we are covering almost every vertical. We have data security, we have identity access management, the TDR, or threat detection and response. And as you can see with the blue ring that we have all around, we spent the last, let's say, 2 years, 2 years and a half, adding this AI to all these different verticals we have. So we are trying to make the cybersecurity the most automated, the most easy to use for everyone. And we spent the last 2 years, for example, adding features like in application security, we scan with our Fortify solution and we see all the different flaws you can have, and we propose automatically, okay, this is how you can fix them. And with a click of a button, you can apply all the different patches. But we have also been delivering some different tools that actually they are not in the market. So the idea is, I mean, they have a place to be in the market. So it's completely new. And I want to show you one of them today. So I want to speak about how we see visibility in OpenText. We can divide, as my colleague was saying before, we can divide the space in 3 different layers. Let's say the nearest space is the one that we are used to work with. So it's our perimeter. It's everything that is related with the CM, for example, we're receiving logs from the different firewalls, the different NDR, XDR, EDR, whatever. We have the mid space, let's call it the edge. Okay? It's coming soon. But I want us to focus on the far space. The far space includes whatever is outside our limits, whatever is outside of our infrastructure, and what we usually say, we don't have control over that. So it includes global signals, passive DNS, the OS fingerprinting, different certificates, or the BGP traffic. So there is a lot of information there. And I want us to focus on that far space for now. So there are some tools that you might be saying, okay, we have, for example, threat intelligence. Threat intelligence feeds are very useful. We have threat intelligence feeds, and we really believe in them. But the way they work is, this has happened in the past, or this is happening in another place. And because you are more or less in the same sector, more or less in the same place, this might be happening to you, okay? But the idea with this solution, that it's called Code Adversary Signals, is we're going to see what is happening to you in real time, okay? So how do we do that? The idea is to have kind of a shield that we're going to put over the infrastructure, okay? And we're going to see the traffic going in and out that shield, going through the shield. And so we can see all the traffic that is happening in and out, and we are going to be signing that traffic. We are going to have a huge visibility over the traffic, over the internet in general, and we are going to create, to play different algorithms in this traffic. We're going to sign it, and we're going to follow it in and out the shield that we're covering your infrastructure. So what can we say with this? We have some customers that they use this. In the past years, they've been using this solution with another name. And for example, this is a case that we saw 2 years ago. There was a nation, obviously I can't say which one, that they announced that they were going to give material support to Ukraine, okay? On the top right, I don't know if you can see that, but there is a legend of all the different adversaries that they had, this nation had. And you can see the correlation between the moment they said we are going to give material support to Ukraine and the huge peak they had, especially from Killnet and from Gambler Amadei. They are Russian adversaries, but we saw them attacking in real time. There was another nation, another mystery in another company, and they had a problem. They weren't using adversary signals at that moment, but they were our customers in some other solutions. And they called us, we have a problem, our accounts are getting locked, we don't know why. So can you help us, please? So we used adversary signals and on them, and we saw that following their traffic, there was a lot of traffic coming out from their ministries, going to an entry node on Tor. And the moment it went out from Tor, we saw that there was a lot of traffic going to mainly Russia, but China also. And because we were doing this signing to the traffic, we were able to follow it through the internet. It didn't matter. They went through a Tor entry, but it was a false flag attack. And the problem they had is that their user entity behavior analytics solution, it was locking their accounts because they saw it was filtering, there was exfiltration of data, but it wasn't alerting properly, so they didn't know it. So we told them, they blocked in the firewall the communications, and that's it, problem solved. So as you can see, there is a lot of things we can see with this kind of solution. You can see here, for example, we've seen how geopolitical activities impact our cybersecurity. For example, you can see your cybersecurity posture, who is attacking and where is attacking in real life, because we've seen attacks, for example, to OT, SCADA stuff a lot. We have seen a lot of attacks to compute cloud resources that they are there and we think maybe we are sure we are not, they were not. So we can see a lot of attacks and where are happening. You might be thinking, how do we use or how do we see all this information? So this solution is completely SaaS, it's a service. You don't have to install anything at all. You have to sign a lot of documents proving that you can actually monitor those IPs, of course. They are your own and you have the right to do it. But after you do it, you have access to this web console where you can see all the information that is happening, filtered by your different, in this case, it's impacted areas, but if it's depending on how you are divided, your offices, your different countries, whatever. The evolution of the different attacks, you can filter by the different attackers and see how your adversaries are attacking and what are they attacking in real life. And you will have also a feed of information. So it's something that you can integrate with your CM, you can correlate, you can increase use it in your rules to increase the correlation to make them smarter. And you will receive also a document quarterly explaining by our team alias, the threat hunting team we have, explaining what has been happening in your infrastructure, who's attacking, what is attacking, what is happening in real life, and a call. Plus the web interface. So, this is about the far space, and I have a minute and a half, so I'm going to tell you about the near space we have. There is an integration. We have a new solution. We have a TDR solution. Very fast, because I have only 1 minute. As you saw before, we were in the different verticals we have. There was this ring with AI, so we are releasing a TDR solution, threat detection solution that is completely based on unsupervised machine learning. Unsupervised means you don't have to teach it. So it will learn your normal behavior. It is going to learn what is happening inside your near space. And whenever we do something that is not common, it's going to start stacking the risk score you have. So depending on what you're doing, if you are connecting from a different site, if you are connecting after hours, if you are connecting to a shared drive that you have accessed but never accessed before, we are going to increase this risk alert until we display alerts in a completely automated way. So this is more or less the resume. You can see here all the different IOCs that we can have and how we are going to represent them and how you can see them on the web console. If you want more information, we are outside on a booth on the top stairs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Estévez. Let's move on to our third presentation. It will come from Mr. Claudio Dell'Ali. He's a senior system engineer from Extreme Networks and BOB expert. Mr. Dell'Ali.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here in Greece, in Athens, very nice and ancient city, like the city where I was from. I'm from Roma, so you can imagine that ancient is something that is in my soul. Today, thanks to Westcon, I have a chance to talk to you about the new evolution of the networking, because to make more secure your infrastructure, you need to have a more secure infrastructure. I mean, a more secure hardware and software to drive in the best way your services in a secure way. So, as a human, we have an evolution, no? Now we are in era of digital, and probably this is a joke that I do. Oh, what's happened? Okay, thank you. In Italy, because thanks to euro in Italy, we lose a lot of power of our money. And going back to infrastructure, the iPhone was the first smartphone, and this smartphone changed the way to do the things in networking. When the networking infrastructure start, And we need to connect a few devices. And all the vendor, like us, like other vendor, create the protocol and the way to communication in this taking care about this thinking. But the networking, again, was few devices. The networking of today is different. The networking of today is this one, is an application and services-based networking. What does it mean? Does it mean that we need to think, we need to change the thing to accomplish this new model of networking? In this new model of networking, the application is the focus. So the new model of networking, as a lot of people before me said, change the way to do the things because you have a different layer in order to manage your infrastructure. I mean, you have the layer to manage the security stuff, firewall and software, but you need also something that help you to manage the access point and switches as well. Then you need to manage the access of the people that need to access to the data and the application everywhere. Probably, if I go back with my mind about 2 years ago, a lot of vendors like us talking with you about BioD devices, no? What is BioD? BioD is the capability to use my smartphone for business stuff. In the last 2 years, no one of us like a vendor still pushing business to you, to customer, to reseller, talking about BioD. You know why? Because now BioD is part of our culture. So we use every day the BioD in our network. And this kind of thing changed the way to do the things. And the network has no the same perimeter that as in the past to defend. I mean, when I was young, more or less 20 years ago, I need to put a firewall between the internet and the LAN, and that's it. Today, I need to do much more things. And to accomplish this, we need to start to talk about in a different way in security. We need to use a concept like CIA, no? You know, CAI in America is the government sector that defend the people of the United States. In networking stuff, CIA means that your network must be confidential, your network must be integrity, your network must be availability. And this three concept is the base of the new model that you need to push in your infrastructure. Before, for example, if you need someone connect to your network, you must authenticate it and his device. Why? Because you need to know who is working, who is using your application and your infrastructure. Then you must be sure that the data and the application showed by your infrastructure are the same one that was stored. No one must change this information. And to do this, you must be sure that what is running inside the application is what you want to that is running. Then availability. Services must be always up. Services must be always available for people that is asking in the moment that they are asking. These three concepts are very important in the infrastructure and are very important for security. At the end, one of the tricks for us that is, again, a network infrastructure device producer. We produce access points and switches. The main important thing is not the technology. I mean, if I look to the wireless, today we are pushing the new model of wireless 7 that has more power and blah, blah, blah. But every one of us do this. The difference is the model. So the model is accomplish your needs and keep in mind visibility. Visibility of the user in the network, visibility of the device in the network. We need to be sure that the network itself is secure. We need to be sure that the wireless on access is fast and is secure. We need to be sure that all the things that people need to use will be easy to access and easy to use for them and easy to manage for us, because I am a technician. We need to push a new infrastructure model with network performance in the heart. The performance is very important. The application must be faster than in the past, because today, internet gives us the chance to get information in a very quick way. Then, we need to give to you a simple way to manage all these things, all this stuff around in your infrastructure. So, at the end, we need to take care to two big things. On the left, the network edge, the part where the people is using the network, the wireless access must be more secure, more easy to access, and I need to manage things like video surveillance camera or IoT device in general. Then I need to push something new in the network, like resilience, like the performance, like end-to-end visibility and end-to-end security. To do this, we need to start to think about a new model of network infrastructure. A network infrastructure must be automated. Automation helps in this model. For example, if I need to configure a new camera in my network, a new access point, a new device in general, I need a reaction directly from the network. So, through the artificial intelligence or a software layer, the onboarding of this device must be automated, must be easy, and must be made by the network infrastructure itself. One of the best issues in the network, one of the best hole that the hacker use to make an hacking to our network is the misconfiguration of technician, because the human error is always behind the angle, we say it in Italy. Following this model, if a networking infrastructure will be able to onboard the device by itself, that means that the error will be zero. The human do error, a machine learning, an intelligence artificial, an infrastructure with automated inside never fail and do the things 100 times in the same time, 100 times good in a good way and never fails. So automation is very important also to fight against the hacker and against all the bad people that want to do something bad in our network. The second point is resilient. We must be sure that even we lose a device of our infrastructure, the infrastructure is working well. We have a technology to do this. Then we must be sure that our networking must be adaptive. Again, I need to use my BioD device, I need to use a camera, I need to use the services and the application in many different ways. The adaptive of our network accomplish to this model. And then security must start from the network, and security must be in the wireless access point, and security must be into the switches. At the end, thanks to our technology, that is not only hardware, because at the end, the main evolution of Extreme Network as a vendor is, in the last 10 years, we have created performance hardware, but also a very important layered software that is for extreme devices and for third-party devices. For example, if I want to have a good reaction thinking about cybersecurity in my network, I need to use an integration. Integration is a word. Integration is made because I have an orchestrator in my network. Orchestrator is a management layer placed in the network that is able to manage the switches, is able to manage the access point, and at the same time is able to manage a firewall of another brand that is not Extreme Network. But when a user is doing something like a malware in the network can react. Thanks to extreme software, this reaction will be in the switch, will be in the firewall. Example, I'm browsing in a bad site. The firewall say to the network that Claudio is browsing to the website. What can do the network? Take Claudio off of the network. And in the same moment, the firewall will block Claudio as a user. So take off Claudio from the network, blocking the firewall is the good way to do security in this modern infrastructure network. Thank you very much. Last thing, if you want, I can show you a lot of things that I talk about now in a live demo at 3:30 in another room. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Dell'Ali. On a more personal note, I can't imagine what a security expert would feel like after all this effort to keep safe some very critical government data, and then we see in recent events leakage of such data in ways we wouldn't even imagine. Of course, I'm talking about recent events in the USA. Anyway, moving on, I would like to now call to the stand Mr. Norberto Gazzoni. He's the Regional Account Manager for ICOS. He will be doing his presentation.
Good afternoon. Sorry. Maybe my only Greek word is kalispera. I'm Italian. Thank you for the next 10 minutes that your life will pass with me. We are pretty new here in Greece. We are Thank you. We are an historical distributor. We don't sell nothing to the end user. We are here to help the system integrator. This is our timeline. We got sort of a second life starting in 2020, where we started to enlarge our distributor activity from infrastructure to cybersecurity. Now we have a business that is running 50% on infrastructure and 50% on cybersecurity. We are lucky because, as you can see, the number is growing, and the next end of the month we will close our year, our fiscal year, and I have to anticipate that we have a better result that one we want to have for more than 10% more. We have the headquarters in Italy, then we have another company that covered the DACH market in Munich. And now we started to have a representation here in Athens that will cover Greece, Malta, and Cyprus. We have more than 100 employees. As I said, this is our country coverage. Now we are starting also to work in some countries all over the Balkan area. How is our job? We are only a pure distributor. I don't know if in this room there are also end-user company or end-user people or operator of the IT market or the cybersecurity market. Normally, we work directly only on the market of the solution provider to the end user. How we do it? I will do that. We do that with, first of all, a competence center that provide and help to demonstrate the quality of the solution to the system integrator, to help the system integrator to learn what the solution can do for them. And this is very crucial because also we choose to don't distribute the very large product in cybersecurity that normally everybody bought, but we distribute also startup company that build up a new specific idea, because especially in the security market, we see a great segmentation of the needs. So the kind of specialization that the people has to have increase day by day. So we are the founder of a new company that has new tactics to make an attack, a red hat attack, to a company to understand how is the security position of the company. And we find these kind of new tools and we bring them to the market, to the system integrator, to let also them to know what otherwise is difficult for them to understand, because they are fully concentrated to solve the problem of the end user. Then we support the market through financial program to let the business partner to have a safe condition to work. And also we will start in the next year to have our personal marketing event here in the country and help the business partner to have the event with the vendors that we represent. These are the two areas of technology where we move. So the pillar of infrastructure, when we sold servers, hyperconvergency technology, data management, data protection tools. And then, as I already said, you can see the kind of number, increased number respect infrastructure solution that we have for cybersecurity. This is not a joke for us. This is need by the kind of attack that the attackers do to the company. Every day, a new crazy idea comes from them, and every day there is someone that put on the table a new idea to create a new tool to defend a company. So, talking about infrastructure, on the blue box, you will see the kind of brands we distribute here, and probably you will not know the name of this brand, because this is one of the other key characteristics that we want to bring to the Greek market. Bring to the Greek market new brands that add new technology, unknown, and help the Greek market grow in safe. On the white area, there is the brands that normally we distribute in other countries, except A3C that is officially now distributed also here in Greece from us, and where to our business partner we can give and help if they have a problem of knowledge and they want to have an help in a configuration or something like that. As I said before, and now is really clear on this page. This is the amount of brands that we distribute in cybersecurity. And you can simply see that there is really a huge number of technology and vendors that we distribute. And this is really needed by the kind of aspect of the cybersecurity market. Every day is really, a zebra has to run because the lion wants to catch her, and this is absolutely the same on the cybersecurity market. Every day we need to find someone that make a specific small technology to cover a small part of the security issues that originally, when someone thinks to an application, don't think that could be a problem, but the attackers do it. So we need every day to find something that help to have a better cybersecurity, because really we see attack that absolutely came from nothing, that was previously known, and we need to have an help to understand how it's better to protect the company and the business, and at the end of the day, the life of each one of us. So, I don't want to be bored for you. I hope to be interesting. And this is my last slide. I catched time previously, and I want to thank you to everybody. In our booth, there is the possibility to contact us, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Mr. Gazzoni, and welcome to Athens, opening soon, of course. Let's move on. Συνεχίζουμε. Γυρνάω στα ελληνικά, καθώς έχουμε στην επόμενη θέση παρουσίαση τον κύριο Γιώργο Κουιμηντζή. Είναι εμπορικός διευθυντής της NSS και ο τίτλος της παρουσίασής του είναι «Reduce your attack surface using Keeper Technology».
Καλησπέρα και από μένα. Θα γυρίσουμε στα ελληνικά. Είμαι ο Γιώργος Κουιμηντζής, είμαι ο εμπορικός διευθυντής της εταιρείας NSS. Η NSS είναι ένας διανομέας προστιθέμενης αξίας με εξειδίκευση το Cybersecurity. Σήμερα θα δούμε τη λύση της Keeper, η οποία ανήκει σε μια καινούργια κατηγορία λύσεων που πλέον παλιά τους γνωρίζαμε σαν PAM λύσεις. Τώρα το κομμάτι το οποίο καλύπτουν λέγεται Identity and Access Management. Και γενικά θα ακούμε πολύ στο μέλλον το Identity, γιατί το Identity θεωρείται ότι θα είναι το firewall του μέλλοντος. Να πούμε δύο λόγια τώρα. Το Keeper όταν μας ήρθε σε εμάς ήταν μια έκπληξη, γιατί είχαμε πολλά χρόνια εμπειρία στην αγορά του PAM, είχαμε δουλέψει με όλους τους μεγάλους κατασκευαστές και εξακολουθούμε και δουλεύουμε με την Beyond Trust, που είναι ένας από τους leader στο κομμάτι του PAM. Επομένως, η αλήθεια είναι ότι τους είχαμε αρχικά υποτιμήσει, ότι δεν θα ήταν κάτι το οποίο θα αγκάλιαζε η αγορά. Γιατί σκεφτόμασταν ότι είναι η λύση που κατεβάζουμε στα mobile κινητά μας, πολύ δημοφιλής κλπ. Η πορεία έδειξε όμως ότι το Keeper καλύπτει ένα κομμάτι της αγοράς στο access control, το οποίο δεν το καλύπτανε καλά οι αγορές, οι υπόλοιπες λύσεις PAM. Και το οποίο ήταν αυτό που πολλά security framework που έπρεπε να εφαρμοστούν ζητούσαν από τους ISO να εφαρμόσουν μέσα στον οργανισμό τους. Επομένως, είδαμε μπροστά μας τη μετεξέλιξη μιας εταιρείας που έμοιαζε περισσότερο σε consumer, στο να γίνεται ένα εργαλείο το οποίο καλύπτει τις ανάγκες ακόμα και πολύ μεγάλων enterprise οργανισμών. Ένα στατιστικό, αυτό είναι στατιστικά του 25. 800 εταιρείες κάθε χρόνο, κάθε μήνα, προστίθονται στους πελάτες που χρησιμοποιούν το Keeper. Και να σας δώσουμε και ένα στατιστικό από την ελληνική αγορά, είναι διψήφιες οι εταιρείες που υιοθετούν το Keeper κάθε μήνα. Και έχουμε και τη χαρά να έχουμε και πάρα πολλούς IT integrators, οι οποίοι το χρησιμοποιούν εσωτερικά για να παρέχουν υπηρεσίες στους πελάτες τους και να λύνουν και αυτό το πρόβλημα που μπορεί να υπάρχει μέσα στις εταιρείες τους. Να δούμε λιγάκι τι έχει προκαλέσει αυτή την επιτυχία. Έτσι. Ο βασικότερος λόγος ήταν ότι οι οργανισμοί γενικά, πέρα από τα regulation και τους διάφορους κανονισμούς που μπορεί να εξαναγκάσουν έναν οργανισμό να πάει σε μια τέτοια λύση, το μεγαλύτερο πρόβλημα που έβλεπαν ήταν ότι δεν είχαν ορατότητα. Δηλαδή υπάρχουν πολλές εφαρμογές, πολλά devices, πολλοί χρήστες, όχι μόνο οι IT που παραδοσιακά καλύπτουν οι λύσεις PAM, οι οποίοι έχουν να επιτελέσουν access σε κάποια συστήματα τα οποία μπορεί να χαρακτηρίσουμε critical. Και αυτό το πράγμα τις περισσότερες φορές ο οργανισμός δεν μπορούσε να έχει έλεγχο. Φεύγανε άνθρωποι από έναν οργανισμό και δεν ξέραμε πού θα πάνε τα credential. Έτσι, οπότε εδώ έρχεται να μας δώσει την λύση η Keeper, η οποία μπορεί να ενσωματωθεί σε οποιαδήποτε λύση YAM έχουμε, καταρχήν να λειτουργήσει σαν SSO extender, σε οποιοδήποτε σύστημα χρησιμοποιούμε, και από εκεί και μετά όχι μόνο να προστατεύσουμε τα παραδοσιακά συνθεματικά που έχουμε για τις εφαρμογές, δίνοντας τη δυνατότητα στους εργαζόμενους να έχουν μια πολύ εύκολη εμπειρία, αλλά παράλληλα μπορούμε να προστατεύσουμε και connections. Και αυτό το κομμάτι του connection είναι αυτό που έχει κάνει πάρα πολύ καλά φέτος η Keeper. Έχει φτιάξει ένα κομματάκι το οποίο αξίζει να το δείτε σαν demo. Μπορούμε δηλαδή από το Vault να κάνουμε και απευθείας connection σε συστήματα. Και φυσικά όταν καταφέρνεις και πείθεις τους χρήστες να υιοθετούν μια τέτοια λύση, σταδιακά αρχίζεις και έχεις visibility σε όλο τον οργανισμό και μπορείς εύκολα να ψάξεις στο dark web αν κάτι υπάρχει που πρέπει να φοβόμαστε. Μπορείς να κοιτάξεις πόσο καλά χρησιμοποιούν οι χρήστες τη λύση και για να προτείνουμε μέτρα βελτίωσης. Ό,τι πρέπει να κάνει ένα σωστό security framework σε έναν οργανισμό, το οποίο πρέπει να στοχεύει στην αυτοβελτίωση του οργανισμού όσο προχωράει. Λοιπόν, η διαδικασία πώς γίνεται deploy μια τέτοια λύση σε έναν οποιοδήποτε οργανισμό είναι εξαιρετικά απλή. Έτσι, βάζουμε τους χρήστες μέσα χρησιμοποιώντας τον identity provider, φτιάχνουμε τις πολιτικές και αν θέλουμε να φτιάξουμε και connection, κάνουμε deploy και τα gateways στα αντίστοιχα δίκτυα ή αν είναι κάποιος IT integrator στους αντίστοιχους πελάτες που πρέπει να διαχειριστεί και να κάνει connection στα συστήματά τους. Έτσι, και εκτός από τα connection μπορούμε να έχουμε και την διαδικασία του discovery και να κάνουμε καλύτερα onboarding τις διάφορες συσκευές που πρέπει να προσθέσουμε. Έτσι, αν θέλαμε δηλαδή σε ένα slide να δίναμε τι κάνει το Keeper, θα σας δείχναμε αυτό εδώ το slide, το οποίο ξεκινάει ότι υπάρχει ο identity provider, συνήθως αυτή τη στιγμή οι τεχνολογίες της Microsoft είναι αυτές που χρησιμοποιούνται κυρίως, σε αυτές ενσωματώνουμε πόσες εφαρμογές μπορούμε στους χρήστες να λειτουργούν SSO. Ό,τι δεν μπορούμε να ενσωματώσουμε εκεί, έρχεται το Keeper σαν password manager να προσθέσει access στις υπόλοιπες εφαρμογές, οι οποίες μπορεί να είναι legacy, μπορεί να μην είναι εύκολο η ενσωμάτωση. Έτσι, και από εκεί και μετά έχουμε εργαλεία για το app-to-app connection, για τους developers, τα εργαλεία που χρειάζεται να έχουμε για το Zero Trust Access. Μπορούμε να κάνουμε connection RTP, SSH, απευθείας σε βάσεις, απευθείας σε κάποιο πρωτόκολλο, έτσι ώστε να χρησιμοποιήσουμε και την εφαρμογή που θέλουμε από το πισάκι μας. Και φυσικά, επειδή ζούμε σε έναν κόσμο που χρησιμοποιείται πάρα πολύ το web και απευθείας στο URL κάποιας εφαρμογής και ελεγχόμενα μάλιστα. Έτσι, εδώ υπάρχει ένα πάρα πολύ ωραίο use case ότι πολλές εταιρείες στα τμήματα marketing κάνουν outsource τη διαχείριση των social και πάρα πολλές φορές χάνουν τον έλεγχο στο τι μπορεί να προβάλλεται και τι μπορεί να μην προβάλλεται. Επομένως, είναι μια πολύ εύκολη λύση έτσι ώστε να ελέγχεις πραγματικά ποιος μπορεί να σου κάνει access στα social και ποιος όχι. Και φυσικά οι πιο ευτυχισμένοι άνθρωποι είναι οι administrator και οι auditor, έτσι, ότι πλέον μπορούν να έχουν ένα συνολικό visibility της λύσης και να μπορούν εύκολα να κάνουν και διορθωτικές ενέργειες, να εκπαιδεύσουν τους χρήστες, να βρουν πολύ γρήγορα την έκθεση στο dark web που μπορεί να έχει ένας οργανισμός. Να θυμάστε πάντα ότι ό,τι περισσότερο αποτύπωμα έχουμε στο dark web είναι σαν να δίνουμε κίνητρο σε κάποιον να έρθει να μας επισκεφτεί. Γιατί μπορεί να θεωρεί ότι αυτά που βρίσκει στο dark web θα του εξασφαλίσουν μια εύκολη νίκη. Έτσι είναι ένα επάγγελμα κι αυτό, οπότε οι άνθρωποι, επειδή βιοπορίζονται από τις επιθέσεις, χρειάζεται να κάνουν το δικό τους intelligence. Οπότε εμείς το καλό που πρέπει να έχουμε είναι να έχουμε όσο το δυνατό μικρότερο αποτύπωμα στο dark web για να υπάρχει λιγότερο κίνητρο να μας επισκεφτεί κάποιος που δεν πρέπει. Εδώ αξίζει να το βλέπαμε εδώ σαν demo. Στην ουσία από το Vault to Keeper μπορούμε να κάνουμε το connection είτε χρησιμοποιώντας αμιγώς cloud υποδομή και στο περιβάλλον που θέλουμε να κάνουμε το connection υπάρχει απλά ένα service που λέγεται Keeper Gateway, ή αν ο πελάτης μας είναι πιο θέλει τα data να τα συλλέγει αυτός και να μην είναι στο cloud τα data, μπορεί να εγκατασταθεί, όπως το λέμε στη γλώσσα της Keeper, ο Connection Manager Server. Έτσι, και εδώ το functionality είναι πραγματικά καταπληκτικό. Άμα το δείτε, δηλαδή, εκτός από το Vault που έχουμε τα συνθηματικά, έχουμε και τα connection, τα οποία μπορούμε να φτιάχνουμε και να μοιράζουμε με τους υπόλοιπους χρήστες, να δημιουργούμε just-in-time access, one-time access συστήματα, έτσι, και όλα αυτά από το Vault, έτσι, δηλαδή, και μάλιστα η λογική εδώ πέρα είναι ότι μπορεί να δουλεύεις από οπουδήποτε, χωρίς να κάνεις VPN, να έχεις μόνο ένα κοντρολαρισμένο τρόπο να επισκέφτεσαι αυτά τα συστήματα και φυσικά εκ των ουκάνευ είναι να μπορεί να υπάρχει και η διαδικασία του recording, έτσι ώστε να είναι και ευτυχισμένοι οι auditor, εκτός από τα logs να βλέπουν και τα recording, έτσι, να υπάρχει η διαδικασία του rotation, έτσι ώστε τα συνθηματικά να ανακυκλώνονται τακτικά, έτσι ώστε είπαμε το αποτύπωμα, ακόμα κι αν γίνει κάτι που δεν μας αρέσει, να μην υπάρχει πραγματικό αποτύπωμα στο dark web, και η πρόσβαση είναι πάντα zero trusted. Αν θέλαμε έτσι συγκριτικά με τις άλλες λύσεις PAM να δούμε τι μας προσφέρει καλύτερα το Keeper, το Keeper έχει ένα μεγάλο πλεονέκτημα. Έχει πολύ γρήγορο provisioning. Δηλαδή συνήθως στις λύσεις PAM παίρνει αρκετός χρόνος να κάνουμε provision τους χρήστες, να σηκώσουμε συστήματα, να κάνουμε όλη αυτή τη διαδικασία, και το πιο δύσκολο από όλα είναι να πείσουμε τους ανθρώπους που πρέπει να λειτουργήσουν με αυτή τη λύση να τη χρησιμοποιούν. Έτσι. Αυτό είναι ένας πολύ μεγάλος πόνος στις λύσεις αυτές. Εδώ πέρα το Keeper γενικά γίνεται ένας καλός φίλος και τον IT αλλά και τον business user. Έτσι υπάρχουν και αρκετά ωραία πραγματάκια μέσα που γίνονται έτσι ώστε το Keeper να το αγαπάνε οι χρήστες, γιατί άμα δεν το αγαπήσουν οι χρήστες δεν θα το χρησιμοποιήσουν. Έτσι, και αν οι χρήστες δεν χρησιμοποιούν μια λύση, η λύση χάνει τη μισή αξία της. Έτσι, οπότε δεν έχει σημασία πόσο καλή είναι. Έτσι, οπότε το εύκολο και γρήγορο provisioning και η ευκολία που παρέχει στους χρήστες είναι τα πράγματα τα οποία τις περισσότερες φορές εξασφαλίζουν στο Keeper ότι θα έχει επιτυχημένες υλοποιήσεις. Έτσι, γιατί η επιτυχημένη υλοποίηση δεν είναι μόνο να το στήσουμε καλά, να παίζει τεχνικά. Το βασικότερο από όλα είναι να το χρησιμοποιούν αυτοί που πρέπει να το χρησιμοποιούν. Και να μην ψάχνουν πάντα τρόπους να το παρακάμψουν. Έτσι. Οι IT είναι οι πιο έξυπνοι άνθρωποι στον κόσμο. Αν δεν τους αρέσει κάτι, το παρακάμπτουν. Έτσι, οπότε δεν έχει σημασία να βάζουμε fancy λύσεις, άμα δεν τις χρησιμοποιούν. Τελειώνοντας, επειδή τελειώνει ο χρόνος, ένα σημαντικό πράγμα να τονίσουμε εδώ. Το Keeper είναι μια hybrid λύση, η οποία όμως έχει πιστοποιητικά τα οποία επιτρέπουν ακόμα και στους πιο αυστηρούς οργανισμούς να την υιοθετήσουν. Έτσι, πολλές φορές ξεκινήσαμε ένα project σε έναν οργανισμό ο οποίος έλεγε θέλω μόνο on-premise λύση, αλλά μιλώντας μαζί τους και τους εξηγώντας όλα τα certification, το FIPS 140, παύλα 3, encryption που μπορούμε να εξασφαλίσουμε σε έναν οργανισμό, τελικά πίστηκε ο οργανισμός, έτσι, και υιοθέτησε τη λύση της Keeper. Έτσι, ευχαριστώ πολύ για τον χρόνο σας. Όποτε θέλετε, είμαστε κάτω στο stand να δείτε και ένα demo, να δείτε πώς είναι και στην πράξη.
Ευχαριστούμε κύριε Κουιμηντζή. Thank you, Mr. Κουιμηντζής, and I'd like to thank every speaker so far for keeping in the specified time frame. And just switch to English again because we will now learn how to prevent data exfiltration from Netrix and Signor Maurizio Taglioretti. Prego.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry that now you have to change again mindset because I'm Italian. I cannot speak a word of Greek, but I promise you next year I will manage the presentation in Greek. I only know the normal word in Greek, you know, Kalimera, Kalispera, Kalinikta, Italiani, Greci, mia faccia, mia razza, and the most important word that is moussaka, souvlaki, pitagyros when you go, and gin tonic. Yes, gin tonic is a Greek word. And because it's international, every part of the world I am traveling, when I ask for a gin tonic, I have my gin tonic there, by the way, it's not water. So is there anybody here from yesterday? Oh, you are the hero. But, okay, it's really hard for me because, you know, I'm Italian, and I say I have to run a presentation really in 10 minutes. Normally in 10 minutes I just make the introduction of myself. So, in fact, I have, I think, 40 slides, but I'm not going through all the 40 slides. So, and it's also hard to present Netrix in 10 minutes because we have 19 different products in our portfolio. So I decided to talk only about one solution. How many of you knows Netflix? Netflix, you know the platform. So it's not us. We are Netflix, which is different. It's funny, but because I have another white shirt with the Netrix logo, and when I'm traveling, I'm at the airport or at the station, they say, oh, you're working for Netflix, because they only see NE. And initially I was saying, no, I work for Netrix, it's a cybersecurity company. Now I take a joke and I say, yes, I work for Netflix, and I'm inventing the final of the film and spoiler everything fun. But let's go ahead. So I'm not going to tell you what is data loss prevention and why you should need to implement. We have seen in these 2 days a lot of cybersecurity solutions, no? We have been talking about network security solution, network solution for security, software solution, platform. First of all, we should start to implement a good cybersecurity framework in our company, not to go ahead and thinking about silos. So somebody talks, oh, I will put in security my data, so I'm secure. No. Or somebody say, no, it's the identity. I have to put security, the identity. But then maybe you have a hole or vulnerability in the infrastructure. So you have to think about as a big picture, so data, the three surface, so data, identity, infrastructure, and to protect as a whole. But if we talk about the data, we have a lot of solutions on data loss prevention. Why we need, first of all, what is data loss prevention? Is preventing there's some data, especially if they are sensitive data, personal information, if our secret, industry secret, you know, that does not leave the company, or at least we should know who is using this data, what use they are doing. They are sending via email, they are printing out. So there are two types of DLP solution. There are, let's say, network solution, so they control the data flow in motion. So when somebody is moving a data, for example, from a server to a client or sending via email, this solution can control the data and say, depending on the type of data, you can block it or you can have an alert. And then we have a data at rest solution, so solution that control the use that a user is doing on his laptop, on the server. To have a complete solution, you should have not a point product, but a solution that covers end-to-end, from server to the endpoint, from the cloud to the server and to the endpoint, to understand really if your data are at risk and what the use that your employee are doing. So which framework should we follow? This is plus or minus any framework, let's say, it's fine. If you see the ISO 27, if you see the GDPR, even if it's not a framework, if you see the NIST framework, it's always the same. But for DLP is a little bit different, because you cannot pretend to deploy a DLP solution, even if it's a network solution, it's a software solution, and to start blocking everything, because your user will immediately call you, oh, I cannot print a document, I cannot send via email. So you should start to define the policy. So first of all, you should classify the data. Guys, this is important, but not because of the compliance, just because it's important for you. The data is not yours. You are responsible of the data of your customer, of your employee, especially if we are talking about sensitive data, okay? So when you have defined the policy, you can prepare and validate the policy. And again, when I was starting in 1932 with John McAfee, you know, I'm an old man, we only had antivirus, firewall. When we were talking about security, we were talking to the IT manager. We even didn't have this large title, CIO, CISO. There was the IT manager and maybe the sysadmin or some technical guys. But now you have to extend the table. You have to talk to the board, to the CEO of the company, because also they are responsible. Then you have to educate your user. And I'm not a fan of training. You know, you can train your user how to use the data, what they can or they cannot do. You can run 8 to 10 hours, 1 week of training, but believe me, after 1 week or maybe a couple of days, they will start again to do the same thing that they are used to do. So there is a solution I was proposing to the Italian Association, which is a mouse with a 3,000 volt shock when they click whenever on what they should not click, but they told me it's not legal. I don't know if it's legal in Greece, please implement it, because this is better than a lot of training. By the way, how do we think about the DLP networks? As I was telling you, is 3 products that make a solution. So the first one is the classification. How can you protect anything inside your company if you don't know what you have inside your data? In some cases, you don't know even what you have inside your databases, so the structured data, which you should know, but maybe a technical guys change a table in SQL, and you think to have some data there, and you have other data. So the data classification, we have a point product. You can classify all the data. You can classify data on the cloud, data on-premise, on not on Windows, Linux, Nutanix. You can also classify structured data, so any databases, and also image, because there is an OCR engine. So if you have a scan of an ID card, of a credit card, it will classify based on taxonomies. So it will tell you inside this document there is a personal identification, a credit card number, a financial and health information of a user. When you have classified, you must monitor what the user, first of all, who has access to what inside the company. And we have this solution that is Matrix Auditor. With the Matrix Auditor, you can track any activities that the user are doing on your file, on your data, on your databases. So you see who is doing what, who has access to what, but you track starting from who is reading a file, who is deleting a file, renaming a file, but also in a way that there is written who, what, when, and where. This is the output. It's not a CM solution that then you have to study what does it mean, this log. It's really simple to use and to identify. Last but not least, we have the endpoint. So we need something on the endpoint. In this case, we have endpoint, Matrix Endpoint Protector. you install just a small agent on the desktop, on the laptop, and even if the machine is not in line, is not in VPN, the user go home, based also on the same classification, then you can decide what to do, what the employee can do with those data. So you decide, for example, based on the content, those type of data cannot or must not leave the company. So if the employee is trying to send via email, to print out or to put on USB sticks, you can block this. Or you can allow but encrypt the data. Or simply, it will appear a pop-up to the end user saying, hey, you are sending out, for example, a company information. Are you sure you can send it out, or are you violating any policy? And this is, believe me, better than hundreds and hundreds of training hours. So this is the huge portfolio, so it's why I had short time, I have left 28 seconds. So if there is any other product that you want to go in depth, we are here at the desk, but we have also distributor and partner here in Greece. And I think you will have the slide with, let me see. Okay, those are all the solution, and the next slide, all the product. Thank you very much. Grazie.
Grazie. I was in Milan yesterday, so I feel I never left. Too many Italians here today. Happy to see you. So, the human factor is crucial, as we saw earlier, in data loss. And that's why I think this next presentation will be very important, because it focuses on the human factor, behavioral biases in security adoption and social engineering attacks, from Mr. Daniel Gold. He is head of neuro research and marketing techniques of Kaspersky.
Thank you very much. Okay, fantastic. Hello. Thank you very much for joining in this sort of speed dating Olympic competition, which one speaker every 10 minutes. So today I'm going to talk about a bit less of the technology, much more about the human side in protection. We'll talk about behavioral biases, which are natural and systemic tendencies in our decision making, and they lead us or contribute to us making wrong decisions, or suboptimal or irrational, as you would call it. So these decisions actually influence cybersecurity adoption, these biases, and also the ability to resist social engineered attacks. This chart shows you global adoption of super basic cybersecurity, antivirus, password manager, VPN, and you see we don't have a full house. Not on the consumer side, not on the business side. So there are many variables that explain that contribute to this, such as technology proficiency, or also budgets or available money in consumers. But ultimately, one variable that also contributes is the likelihood to perceive, that is perceived to be under threat this year, or could actually experience an attack. So what you see on this chart is the subjective likelihood that people report that they could be attacked. And you see the counts on the other axis, and yes, no, if they adopt antivirus and maintain it. And you can see actually when the likelihood goes in like 1 to 1,000 and above, we get an uptick in AV adoption. But most of the people, or a lot of the people, are actually on the left side of this likelihood. So it's very rational that we protect ourselves when we perceive an attack as likely, but not everyone does this. If you look at the behavioral economics behind this, there is a bias called optimism bias. It is very relevant because it just means we can have a tendency to underestimate the propensity for negative events. It's very classic in healthcare. People who smoke often have this form of bias with them. Environmental disasters can also be underestimated. But ultimately, there are many other biases that fuel this bias, and also relevant for social engineered attacks and how you can resist them. And I will talk about 3 today. Availability heuristics. That is, something is seen as less likely if we don't get examples for it to mind. We talk about representativeness. That's when stereotypes and mental models are used to judge something. And also we talk about perceived control in the form of people can think a behavior is adequate, but it is not actually sufficient, or people can be overconfident. So here you actually see cybersecurity behaviors adopted by consumers, and I'll show businesses later. And you see the number one and two behaviors are actually deleting strange-looking emails and avoiding dodgy websites. However, if you put that actually to the test in an experiment and show actual scam messages to consumers, the results are pretty bad. 34% here would actually react to a PayPal scam where you get a message like, oh, a high-value item has been ordered from your PayPal, but it goes to someone else. And there's a telephone number, and you can obviously reply to this email, and 34% would actually do this. This is a social attack. Here you see a charity with PayPal.me asking for donations because they have received Korean rescue meat farm dogs. My partner is Korean, so I can openly show this here. And you see again a high propensity, 30% would consider donation. So what can we do about this? Well, we have technology. Anti-phishing, for example, from Kaspersky is in all of our products, consumer side and business side, even the entry-level products. And last year we did the best in the test for anti-phishing technology, but the best still meant a 93% detection rate and no false positives. So it shows you that there's still an avenue, especially if you're on the lower scale side of technology, to have human education in mind. So does it actually work? Well, this is the group that saw these two scam messages. And you can see after they were exposed to them, the likelihood for them to perceive under risk of attacks actually already shoots up. That's only two messages shown. Why is that? It's because availability heuristics has kicked in. We have now shown examples of how a scam works that involves PayPal or other things. These examples come to mind, and the likelihoods are judged higher. Surprisingly, and these are business behaviors in cybersecurity, you can find that actually simulating phishing attacks or also actually having a point to send strange emails or anything forward or strange messages is not very common in the business world. So that's surprising because it's actually something that works. At Kaspersky, apart from delivering all this wonderful technology with our engineers, we also have a cybersecurity awareness solution suite. One here, for example, I put out as a KSAP. It gives you 160 plus spam emails, that you, phishing emails, sorry, that you can send to your employees. It tracks all the records, how it works, how they react to it. It has links, it has QR codes, all sort of scams. And the whole point is not just to probe how they react, but also to provide these examples for these types of attacks. And for QR codes, that's very, very relevant. Here, actually, we gave a scenario to employees of businesses and asked, what would you do if your workplace car park is suddenly charging a little money for parking by asking to scan a QR code? And you will see, even on enterprise level, we have very high people who would actually pay at least once. So in total, we're reaching 20 to 35%, 36%. So it shows us that even something as banal and trivial as putting an A4 paper out of a printer, putting it on your car park with a QR code and your company logo is a security risk. So of course you can use simple technology like safe QR code scanners, implement that consistently, but still you want to create the awareness what a QR code scanner is, because you fix that there is no mental model really availing. When we talk about mental models, we also mentioned in the representative problems stereotypes. These are stereotypes that people have towards hackers, scammers, or none of them is the last column. And you can see that none of them, the number one is, are friends or people who I know. Yes, it's correct. Whenever we build friendship and friendship connections, the propensity that that person could be a criminal, a hacker, goes dramatically down. It's evolutionary, complete senseful to do that because we trust our friends, trust is built, but it's also a security risk. On the other side, you see typical other things like unusual accents and dialects, for example. That's very associated here at the bottom row you see with hackers, scammers, or both of them, and also behaving strangely. So if you look now into attacks, friendship can actually be exploited these days. This is an example that you can see in one of our publications, Secure List, one of the many attacks that we dissected, where Lasse Collin, an open source code project that he did, he actually handed that over to criminals, and the criminals were not one, they were three. And there were three people who sort of digitally bumped into him, and it took a very long time. We're talking about not something that instantly added, there's friendship built. There's also ultimately social pressure created about community expectations and temporal pressure in the end. So you can see group dynamics become a very large risk, and you can imagine with generative AI, this is going to explode even more. Luckily, generative AI also gives us abilities to better counter these type of threats because we can detect anomalies, we can detect messages that look like scam and these things much better these days. But ultimately, there's a risk that generative AI will also lead to more attacks that involve friendship, group pressure. And one thing you also saw here, obviously, temporal pressure. So temporal pressure is sort of the special ingredient of most scams. Why? Because when our brain comes into urgency, we are very open to take mental shortcuts. We become very sensitive to biases to deploy them. It's an evolutionary mechanic that makes us work under pressure, and it's actually senseful, but unfortunately, it's fantastic for criminals. So whenever a message comes out where your CEO wants something in one day that involves money or in 2 hours, you can already sense where this is going because temporal pressure is built. So I only have 1 minute left, so let's summarize what we learned in this marathon sprint event. We talked about optimism bias. People can, in general, underestimate the likelihood of negative events. We talked about biases that are applicable to this, but also especially to resistance to social engineered attacks. We talked here about availability heuristics. People are much better seeing the danger when they have examples for a type of attack. We also talked about representativeness, that people judge likelihoods, events, and risks a lot based on stereotypes and mental models. For a QR code scam, there is a lack of mental models, so education is actually good. And also we talked about perceived control. People can adopt insufficient behaviors, but also overestimate how good they are. We saw people say, oh, I avoid dodgy websites or I avoid strange messages, but still we see roughly a third would react to this form of scams. On the technology side, this is not a technology presentation. We have a stall outside where you can see all the technology we offer. We cover virtually everything in the spectrum. We have anti-phishing technology, obviously. We have simple things as QR code scanners. We also do anomaly detection on your traffic or on your whole data, obviously, where you can find things that go wrong. But we also offer education in an approachable way. So there's the ASAP portal that you can actually go and sign up for free to some degree. And there's also publications where we actually portray the newest and the biggest and the most fascinating attacks that are happening, and we dissect them both on the technical side but also on the social side. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gold. I was right. It was a very interesting presentation, and remind me not to wear a hoodie next time I want to hack someone. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, and believe stereotypes, come from the movie industry, maybe, and the Netflix series, because we don't, I don't know, hackers don't wear hoodies, and we know when you see a hacker with a hoodie. I think this comes from the film industry, mainly.
Definitely film industry, analogies as well, who might know other types of criminals, because of physical criminals. We have an idea
So, that was nice. Let's move on. I don't know if you use AnyDesk. It's a great program for remote access. So Mr. Kevin Der Brun is Channel Account Manager of AnyDesk, and he will talk to us a bit more about the company's solution.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, thank you so much for obviously inviting me into your beautiful home country. Always a good time, obviously, visiting Greece itself. So look, bear with me. I'm literally 10 minutes away from obviously a birthday celebration and a cold beverage. So let's celebrate this next 10 minutes together, yeah? So look, I'm from AnyDesk. I'm pretty much in collaboration with our partners, our distributor for the region, Orthology. Today I'm going to teach you a little bit of a little thing or two of AnyDesk itself. All right, so I'm sorry to disappoint. Obviously, you know the name there, Kelvin De Bruyne. Everybody was probably expecting the famous Dutch football player, but unfortunately that is my name. It's not a stage name, it's my actual name. So if you want to connect with me, please feel free to scan the QR code. If there is any questions when it comes to AnyDesk or any support that you need, see me as the face of the Greek market that I can obviously just address on the fly for yourselves. Just moving along, in terms of AnyDesk itself, we're pretty much, company that was established in 2014. The company is now just over 10 years old, and essentially, look, we're a team of 300 strong. This is the CEO of our organization itself, and as you can see, we're pretty much opening up locations all across the board itself. One that we just opened up in Paris last night. So essentially, look, the language itself is pretty much spreading. And like I said, obviously, we have the Greek speakers here on the ground in terms of obviously if you need obviously assistance and so forth. Just moving swiftly along, in terms of obviously the numbers, in terms of obviously remote connectivity, we do pride ourselves as being, the leading remote desktop solution worldwide. And in terms of, look, the numbers itself speaks for itself on the board itself. But as we are limited of time, I want to, get to the crux and the nice things that I can present for yourself. Obviously, as I said there, we are expanding by the day. That is essentially the locations. We are pretty much based, or the HQ itself, in pretty much Stuttgart itself, Stuttgart, Germany. Expecting a German to stand in front of you. I'm the furthest from German. I'm a South African born and bred, but essentially, representing, the brand itself all over the globe. Moving along, just by a show of hands quickly here, does anybody know what AnyDesk is? Just as a quick little overview. No one? All right, so I'm actually addressing the right crowd here. I saw one there in the crowd, thank you so much. So AnyDesk itself is literally working from any desk itself, okay? So if I can make a quick little, example for yourself, you have a person in need on the one side and you have another person that is essentially the professional. He or she is literally just hopping through the computer and, pretty much solving a problem as opposed to sitting, in long traffic or maybe flying to a specific distance. He or she can resolve the problem on the fly itself by pretty much addressing the problem straight away. So in a nutshell, connecting to people and resolving problems fast. That is what AnyDesk is in a nutshell. All right, just moving swiftly, moving forward. So this was a very profound moment when I came to Greece all the time, sitting in traffic. So, I could only dread sitting in traffic, Firstly, it takes, number one, time, it takes energy, and, it just pushes up the blood rate a little bit, So we need to ask ourselves the question here today, are we part of, the problem, or are we going to obviously be part of the solution, okay? Just something to think about, as we're moving along. So there was a little survey that was done not too long ago, just after COVID, and they predicted by 2025 that 77% of the European workforce will essentially be working remotely. All right. Maybe just by a show of hands again here, do any of you guys work at least once a week from home? Just a quick show of hands. Oh, fantastic! Very good. Maybe 2 times a week. Very good. 5. Oh, there's a luxury there, hey? Very good. So, gents, well done. Look, obviously what, what this has been teaching us is that, work can be done without actually going to a physical building. You can obviously resolve problems on the fly itself. So, moving along, obviously as times change, obviously we learn a lot of lessons along the way. People need to be fluid in terms of how they are, rendering services and so forth. So there's no more the idea of, driving to a brick or mortar location itself. Problem can be resolved on the fly itself using a simple service like ourselves. Some nice use cases that's coming on in the slides still to come. So, if you just think of frontline workers, like I said previously, obviously there is now more of a need for digital tools such as ourselves, such as obviously all the other vendors that was presenting as well, just for number one, for their safety, for their security, and just getting work on the fly. Okay, this is actually seen as the new norm in which we are heading, to the future itself. The word there of Sun Chemical, it could literally be inserted with any of your organizations' names in which AnyDesk provides support to the people obviously on the ground itself, on the fly. Just a couple of key points here that I brought along with us, so look, what makes us unique as a service? The only thing we ask for in turn of your hardware itself, we ask for 5 megabytes of your system itself. If you think of the days of a floppy disk, if you think of games these days, they're over 100 megabytes. Even gigabytes, we're asking for 5 megabytes of your service just in order to, connect from one place to the other. In terms of latency, in terms of speed, again, because of such a low requirement, we only need a limited bit of bandwidth from yourself in order to obviously get the job done. As I'm pushed for time, I'm just going to go a little bit quicker, just shift some gears. The operating system, this is essentially what the service looks like in front of you. And as you can see, we pretty much address every single operating system at your fingertips, from Windows all the way through to Apple TV itself. So just think of the following, if you don't want to obviously get up, you just want to change the TV on the sofa, you can literally just do a couple of clicks with our service and off you go. All right, I'm going to do this very quickly. These are 4 licensing models, okay, the 4 licensing models from your very, very basic introduction solo license all the way to the ultimate license. Let me give you a quick story, maybe a minute story. So you start off obviously as a solo person opening up your business, and you start off small with our licensing base. As your business grows, you obviously get another employee, as you can see under the standard license. With the standard license, a big misconception is that everybody can connect at the same time. But if you look at the 2 gentlemen there on the screen, you can see the one is frustrated and the other one is pretty much productive, okay? So that's pretty much just an idea of how it works. One makes a connection while the other one needs to wait, all right? As your organization grows, you obviously advance to your next license, which is your advanced license. More people working from outside the organization, connecting into the organization. And that's how the license grows with yourself. Okay, and then just ultimately they're the ultimate license. It's a tailor-made solution. So if you think of a suit, a suit doesn't fit everybody perfectly. That's where we have the consultation with yourself, have a conversation, and we go according to your needs. Cool. This is just pretty much just an overview. I'm going to skip the slide. We can have this conversation outside over a beverage and take it from there. So what's new with AnyDesk? Some exciting features. So the ones that made a scan of the QR code early on, there's some exciting features. The long-awaited interface change from our end is coming very, very soon. There's more and more integrations that we work with, so there's more and more partners that obviously would want to integrate with our service itself. So essentially that all in all is essentially just bringing the world into harmony, where essentially we are essentially just the, how can I put this, the gateway between, the solution and the problem, all right? So all the IT guys, obviously, if you want to dig a little bit deeper, after the session, we can have a little Q&A together. So what makes us unique? Obviously, very, very easy to use, speed and price. But what I want to get to right now, because I am obviously pushed for time, I want to get to the use cases, just so that we do not think, obviously, connecting from one PC to another. This is just a few of the reasons why people obviously want to work with us. Amazing culture, amazing energy, as you can see and as you can feel in this room, I hope. Really, really good margins, you know, that our partners do obviously give off. And essentially, there's obviously extra incentives and so forth. For all the techies in the room, essentially, here's all the security standards that we obviously do adhere to. Because it is a German organization, you know, security and pretty much certificates is, you know, the heart and the crux of everything. So that's essentially in front of you is what you see, is what you get. But let me just shift gears to get to the use cases quickly, yeah? Obviously, some of the industries there that we are working with, maybe some of those names are familiar there to yourselves, but those are trusted people that obviously do use our service. But here's the fun part of the presentation, and it's pretty much bang on time with time. I don't know if you guys seen this camera before. So this is SpiderCam. SpiderCam is one of these cameras that, you know, hover over stadiums, hover over Tomorrowland, yeah? Here's a very, very cool use case. So I'm part of the action, yeah? And like I say, you know, SpiderCam brings the action to you straight on the sofa. So as I was standing one day in Tomorrowland, I just saw this thing floating across my head. And essentially someone is just sitting in, you know, in the comfort of wherever, and he's controlling the event, and you sitting probably there, you know, on your sofa, enjoying Tomorrowland, doing a little bit of fist bump or whatever. But essentially that's how our service obviously integrates with others and essentially brings the action to yourself. If you think of the Olympics, if you think of the NFL, you know, all those hits, essentially there's someone behind the technology steering the events. And then just lastly, a nice little comment there from, you know, a renewable energy source there, Vestas. They can connect from anywhere, anytime, any place, with any desk. You do not see technicians taking a, you know, a day-to-day swim to those turbines and, you know, resolving problems. They resolve problems on the fly, and essentially, you know, they just continue with life. Last two slides, just to wrap up. I'm going to skip that one. And then lastly, you know, essentially there's just a small little overview of, you know, essentially the techies looking over at the specific car that you can see over there. You know, they gave us a nice little quote there, keeping the driver safe, making sure that, you know, the information from the car is well transmitted to these guys so that, you know, they can ensure the driver safety and so forth. And then just finally, you know, look, we are the #1 platform to go for to obviously strengthen yourself, your business, and, you know, just create new stories, create new use cases, you know, as opposed to sitting in traffic, try and be part of that solution, you know, where essentially you kick back maybe 10 minutes before work, you turn on that coffee machine, you get going. And look, all in all, bang on time. Thank you so much for the presentation. It's been a pleasure. And if there's any questions, get me outside, we'll have a chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. De Bruyn. You know, I would have done the pan with your name myself, but I didn't know if you were cool with it. So let's move on to Mr. Carlos Payés. He's a Senior Manager, Solution Engineering of Sentinel-1. And let's learn a bit more about the company solutions.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here today. My goal is basically to show you a bit of who is Sentinel-1, what are we doing, and how we tackle that being the platform for your security stack. So basically, I usually, when I go to an event for the first time, I like to only show this slide. But sometimes people tell me, hey, you are crazy, how are you gonna just show one slide if you are speaking in front of such a nice audience, right? But this slide really represents what we do here at Sentinel-1. And let me elaborate on that. I have not only one today, unfortunately, but in the next slide, basically, I will summarize or I will amplify what I'm showing here. So basically, what you are seeing from down to the top, so in the downside of the screen, we have the different data sources that your company's security team is usually having, which is identity, email, network, or at the end of the day, data log. In some cases, petabytes of data. So basically, what you see on the center of the screen, what we call data lake, it's our own security data lake, our own platform. And sometimes the vendors, we have something in common for the bad, and it's not that we are expensive, it's that everybody have his single way of representing data. What for Sentinel-1, maybe it's called event.ip.address, for a firewall company or for a network company, it's called source.ip.address, something like that, something different. Everybody's different. So some years ago, Sentinel-1, amongst other vendors, we tried to put some sense of community also, in the sense that we try to push for a standard, for a language, or for a schema, better said, that it's able to understand to correlate data, on how to correlate data, how to make your life a bit easier. And that's called OCSF. It's called Open Cybersecurity Schema Framework. So basically, we have a marketplace, we have a platform. If you want to be in that platform, you have to be in that schema. Why? Because tomorrow, today you are using Sentinel-1 as your EDR vendor. Tomorrow, maybe you are using whatever other solution. Does your team have the time to, or can you afford the time of investing the time to learn a new query language? Maybe they already know a firewall data structure. So that's good. Because with that language, or with that standard, they will be more able to understand how the data works. They will be able to correlate faster, to investigate faster. So basically what you see in the center of this screen in the data lake, everything has to be in the same query language under the same standard. So when you are looking for one vendor, you see the different vendors are there. We put some names as well. They all have to be in that data. So that when you are querying, it's easier and the correlation happens. This is the beauty, right? So we are known as going a bit up as an endpoint solution mainly. We have an EPP, EDR, XDR agent, which is installed in different platforms. We cover vast majority of them, including Windows, Linux, macOS, iOS, Android, you name it. But we also have a very good cloud solution data, CSPM, CNAB, CWPP, to protect your cloud workloads. We will amplify in a bit. On top of that platform is what we call AI. Well, it's what everybody's claiming now. In our case, it's our generative AI assistant. It's called Purple AI. And it's able to understand all this data that there is in the platform. So that's why, again, the beauty of OCSF. Purple AI, our assistant, and this is something that we showcase in the demo this morning in the workshop, it's basically able to understand OCSF. So if you are ingesting data from Okta for an identity solution, for an email solution, for a firewall solution, our generative AI assistant is able to help you with the query. Maybe you don't know how the username is named. You just say, hey, I have this username, give me when it's failing to log in. Tell me where is he usually logging from, right? So having said that, I have 6 minutes. I will summarize very quickly what we do. Our endpoint solution, we have been a leader, or we have scored really well. I don't like the word leader because MITRE does not call leaders, or they don't declare winners. MITRE is a non-partisan organization that basically evaluates different vendors across the same attack. They are, during 1 week, attacking the solution, simulating adversaries, and then they come across with results. They don't declare winners or losers, but everybody claims they are the best. Why? Because they are non-partisan. So when someone asks me, hey, how did you score in MITRE? I really say, hey, please go to MITRE website. I can teach you how to see the data in a non-biased way, but you check yourself. I don't want to say we are the best, we are the leader. Basically, we try to increase the efficiency of the analyst. Our solution is able to behave autonomously. This is, again, something that we've seen this morning. We have 2 models of behavior. We can detect only, and then we allow you to respond to the threats, or we have protect that in the moment that there is an attack detected, we are able to respond to them. We are also a leader in the Magic Quadrant of Gartner. Again, I'm not going to comment on that, but we are there. Some companies only consider leaders for their security stack. We are one of them. And Peer Insights, this is reviews that people can live autonomously on Gartner website and say how the solution is working across some questions, and we are scoring really well. So cloud security, we acquired a company called PinSafe last year. We have integrated the technology in our platform in a way that makes sense, not Just copy-pasting, changing logos. We have put data into our data lake. We are able to correlate our endpoint data with cloud data, and we are able to offer exactly the same functionalities that we offer for our EDR, plus the cloud security posture management offering, right? This is something that we provide in a very comprehensive way, in the same user interface, under the same platform, and so on and so far. It's also powered by AI. I joined the company 4 years ago, and I was already talking about AI, and this is part of our core DNA. AI SIEM, this is the data lake that I was talking about, and this is where things become really interesting, because we basically have, again, we are very proud of OCSF. We are one of the promoters of this standard. And because thanks to that, we can ingest very easily. We have something that I have a battle with with my marketing team, because we call it marketplace. We quickly associate the word marketplace with Apple or with Google, where some applications are free, some others are paid. In our case, the marketplace allows integrations without writing a single line of code. You can literally configure an integration to ingest data, just put in the API key and the URL of the platform or the API, right? So in our case, all our clients have 10 gigabytes of data ingestion for free. That's roughly 300 gigabytes of data per month for free to ingest and to start putting data in the platform. Again, this data will be OCSF and will allow you to be able to correlate quickly, so easily, right? We also have an identity solution. It's mainly focused on protecting Active Directory, the jewels of the crown. And basically what we are doing is to identify, I'm not going to say the word vulnerabilities. We will find also what we call exposures. And those exposures can be things like passwords never expiring, SMPv1 still enabled, weak password policies, and things like that. We will provide a very comprehensive report with the remediation steps, and also we will offer you remediation scripts in case you want to take actions. This is mainly intended for the IT departments, but again, it's something that we do with the same platform under the same agent, right? So what you are seeing on the screen right now is also what we call identity detection and response, or ITDR. So we are trying to think as an attacker think, and when they try to enumerate, for example, who are the domain admins, this is a command that everybody can launch. Please don't do it, or your security team will complain. Basically, instead of giving the real answers, we fake the responses. So we are attacking the attacker, responding to the attacker thinking like an attacker. On top of that, we can put services inside the platform. It's what we call IR or MDR, incident response or managed detection and response. Our agents generate a vast telemetry, which is very useful to investigate, to threat hunt, and to discover patterns on how your users are behaving. Or if you are under attack, we can assist you with services to respond to those threats. We have an industry-leading managed detection and response team. All of our analysts are in-house. We don't subcontract them. So it's a great service. Our average time to response is around 20 minutes until we contain the threat. Last but not least, hyperautomation. Hyperautomation is an automation solution, an orchestrator type of SOAR. Again, we have demonstrated this morning, we have integrations with a bunch of solutions. You cannot imagine with how many, because we have an API-first approach. But basically, with hyperautomation, we allow you to orchestrate in a very simple way your playbooks in case you have an incident, or in case you want to, maybe you have a very repetitive task which takes a lot of time. With hyperautomation, we can try to automate. And we will provide you with the sense of the time that you are reducing thanks to that playbook. Purple AI is what we call our generative AI assistant. It's able to write queries for you. It's able to triage for you. It's able to give you a very comprehensive understanding of the events and incidents in your organization. With that being said, and with still 15 seconds left, this is the platform that we have. This is a description that you were seeing before. Thank you so much for your time, and we are happy to respond to any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valles. And now, for the final presentation of this section, I want to invite Mr. Sergio Manidi. He is a Regional Manager for Southeastern Europe of Infocom.
Hi, all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And I got some vibes while I was walking down the stairs, and I got it a point. So, no way, another distributor. Okay, makes sense. But if you can give me some minutes, I will better explain you why we, as Ingecam Ignition, decided to land in Greece, as well as many other distributors. So, I would like just to spend a few words about our DNA. So we come from 1996, and the company was just a system integrator. Then, after a few years, it was decided to move and to transform the business into distribution due to the pressure of some emerging vendors. And that was the beginning of a long journey that brought us to today. So I joined the company in 2019, opening the Italian branch in a very crowded ecosystem of distribution. So all the main distributors were already present in the field. But the idea was to try to find the right place and to approach the market in a slightly different way. So, being focused, really focused over a couple of sectors, and the elected sector were cybersecurity and cyber intelligence. Then, 1.5 years ago, and sorry, the bet was a successful bet, because we found our place, we grew a lot, and we attracted the attention of some of the giants we founded already present on the Italian theater. So 1.5 years ago, we have been acquired by Exclusive within one of the pillars of the company, but with a clear focus which is maintaining the line of business really separated. And this year, exactly 1.5 months ago, we decided to hire a local guy, which is not present here today due to our friend's COVID, unfortunately, but really well known by the market, and he will be in touch with you following this event. We decided to attend. How can we help you, and what are we doing today? So we are selecting specific technology we do consider crucial for the correct approach of the security and the intelligence developing of the market. If you look at our portfolio, in seconds you will see, of course, we carry several brands, but our approach to market is slightly different. My personal approach is not to talk in front of many people, but to sit down together with a system integrator, GSIs, or small and medium partners, and try to listen, try to understand which is his perception of the market, and try to find in our offering portfolio the right technology that could be complementary to their offering, letting have them the chance to add business, not the focusing from the day-by-day business, but adding not only a product, but also professional services. And how are we doing this? This is a corporate portfolio. You will see some vendors really well known, some vendors totally unknown. And we make business, this is the corporate portfolio in Iberia, because the company was based in Iberia. And this is the corporate portfolio we are landing with in Greece. Some vendors are known, some vendors are less known. But I don't want you to focus over this slide because, as I told you before, what is really important is to listen to you, for us,
in my perspective, is to listen to you, to really understand where you are going, which is your plan for your next future, and try to find and to select the best technology complementary to your current approach of the market. This is quite useless as a slide, because part of these vendors you know very well, but with part of this vendor we develop serious and really rich and relevant case studies, both in Iberia and in Italy. And we would like to replicate, or to replicate together with you here in Greece, some of the relevant case study we have been able to achieve in our countries. Let me spend a couple of words just to make a stupid sample. I started around 3 years ago, making a kind of a evangelization process in Italy, talking about medical IoT, the needs for the large healthcare system to take trace and to better control their IT-OT environment. And it took me 3 years to come to between 2024 and 2025 to start collecting a serious business. And when I'm talking about serious business, I'm talking about serious business. So I'm talking about millions. Because the market, when I started, was not ready. Now the market is ready. We have been supported by the PNRR funds, of course, as all the other European countries, but there are some space in the uncommon business we are used to do where we can find and we create serious business opportunities for our companies. I have 3 minutes to go. Those are some, I'm not allowed to talk about Italian case studies just because I did not get their approval to talk about them. Just one, which is the Ospedale Israelitico di Roma, who implemented Clarotti healthcare technology in their system. But what you see in this slide can give you the idea of the potential business you can have, both in OT development market as well as in the healthcare development market. And the only way, so the only problem, not the only way, but the real problem is to find the right people to talk inside this company. Because sometimes it's good to talk to the IT responsible, sometimes it's good to talk to the general management, because they are in charge of the money expenditure. Sometimes with the medical engineer, because they are in charge of the management of the medical environments. So this is just to make you some samples, some easy samples to understand where we try to be, which part of the business we are working to hook, and the suggestion we want to give our partners where they see some business in these lines. What I can tell you is, I would like to underline one point. I'm a sales guy, and I am a bit older and experienced, and I understood in this market that to make money, you needed to have a lot of colleagues really well trained. My technical department is the best technical department you can find. The knowledge of the technologies is at the same level of the technology knowledge of the vendor itself. And this is the real value I can see in a distributor, apart from the funding of the channel, apart from the setting up of fancy events, having nice dinner. But this is the really relevant point because we are really ready to support you in the pre-sales phase, during the sales negotiation, and in the post-sales phase. So I think I have nothing else to tell you apart from if you want to ask additional questions. We have a small desk, nothing fancy, upstairs. I'm ready to share some idea, to give you my business card, waiting my local sales guy to be back from COVID as soon as possible, able to get in touch with you and to have maybe a conversation with you, an analysis of your plans for the future, and understand if there is a way to work together in your market, which I don't know. And I have to listen to you. That's it. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Manidi. And we conclude this session